Yo, what is up guys, Boris here, coming to you guys with a video talking about new player tips, beginner friendly tips for all you guys that are just starting OPTC, maybe in the past few months, maybe during this week because of Sugofest on global, or whether you're starting JP later on. This should cover most of the beginner tips that I give to all the players that always ask me these questions. I figured I'd go ahead and make a video because this is probably one of my most commonly asked questions. So I have a few tips here written down that I'm going to hopefully help you guys to get started and sort of figure out what to do with the game. Because there's a lot, especially now because this game's been out for over 3 years. There's a lot of content, a lot of things to do. So it's pretty easy to get confused. Let's go ahead and get started with the first tip. Now, the first thing that I recommend you guys do when you start a brand new account, hopefully you've picked maybe you re-rolled a really cool account, maybe you just want to go in blind. The first thing I recommend doing is story mode. Now story mode, as you can see here, these are the missions. You guys know what story mode is. It's really important because one, it is the main way to get rainbow gems, and rainbow gems are the only way to get the top level characters from the tavern. Now each island will give 5 gems after you complete it, with the exception of 3 different islands, which are the end of Alabasta, the end of Skypiea, and the end of Greenford. Those will give 10 gems. But overall you can get around 300 to 400 gems if you complete all of story mode. However, I will warn you that story mode gets pretty difficult later on. But at least for now, you shouldn't have a problem doing the early stages. Sometimes they'll have stamina off, like this one, it's only half stamina. Sometimes they'll have double rates, they'll have double EXP, so each island tends to be individual. But at the end of the day, story mode is where you want to be doing early on. It's the easiest way, and if you do it early on, you don't run into these problems where then you don't get that much EXP, so you don't consistently level up. You can do story mode early on without having to spend any gems, and that'll give you, again, good rainbow gems, which you can then take into the tavern and do pools so you get better characters. Now, the other thing about story mode you want to keep in mind is that later on in story mode, so for instance, if I want to go to Alabasta or Alubarna, which is the capital. Once you get to Alubarna, you'll notice something really interesting. Once you clear Alubarna, again, not only will you get 10 gems, but the final level will actually drop a story mode character, which is this crocodile. Now this is only the global, guys. Unfortunately, if you do JP, this will not be the case, but this is only global, so keep that in mind. You're gonna get a maxed out crocodile. Now you'll notice that you get a maxed out crocodile and oh, this is cool, and it drops every single time. And as you keep going into Skypiea and Water 7, you're gonna get more maxed out characters. So to give you a perfect example, you're gonna get a maxed out NL. These are evolved and maxed out right from the bat, right off the bat. So you're gonna get amazing units that you can put in your teams right away. Maxed out Kaku, maxed out Lucci. You have some really powerful story mode characters that you get maxed, and you do this all the way up to, I believe, maybe Thriller Bark. Yeah, as you can see, we get a Moria max. So, and look at that HP. There's a lot of HP. So you can get some really powerful units as you progress through a story mode, I believe, up to Thriller Bark, like I said. So it's another reason to do story mode early on, is because you can get those powerful units that you can put on your teams, and that will really help you out. Now, if you're having trouble with story mode, I'm going to recommend a certain character here, which everyone should use early on. Now, if you're like me and you reroll for a Lucy, like this one right here, this is the best character in the game, the best legend, red poster legend, and so I don't really need Usopp because he can pretty much carry me through the game. But if you're just starting off, I recommend getting this Golden Pound Usopp. You get him from evolving the base Usopp from Server Village, and he actually delays all enemies for 3 turns, which since the beginning of the game has been a very powerful effect. Still very good for new players. A great effect, will let you pretty much complete most story, because sometimes if you get stuck, those 3 extra turns can really help out. So that's another tip. Tip number 2 is make sure to use Golden Pound Usopp if you get stuck. Now, tip number 3, guys, is to only pull during Sugofest. The way you know it's Sugofest is because it's red. As you can see here, you have a red glow to the tavern, and when you go to the Sugofest, as you guys can see right here, this is the Lucy Sugofest. This is the 3rd anniversary, so it's actually the best one global has gotten. And the reason you only want to pull during Sugofest is because that's the only time that legends are available. So legends are the best characters in the game. They go all the way to 6 star. You pull them as 5 stars, and they are the most powerful characters. They have the most powerful effects, the most powerful specials. Although there are some free-to-play units that are, I'd say, almost equally as powerful. But for instance, nothing really compares to this new Lucy from the Colosseum. He's the best character right now. He's a legend, and he just came out. So you can only pull him during Sugofest. If you pull outside of Sugofest, you will not be able to get any legends. So, for instance, Arashi legend, you got Whitebeard legend, and so on and so forth. These legends are really going to determine what kind of teams you can make, and they're really important. so you don't want to ignore them. Now, when you do pulls, when you get those gems and then you do pulls, you might pull some duplicate characters. If you're pulling duplicate characters, you want to go down here to the bazaar. And the bazaar, you can actually trade in your duplicate characters for points. So you can see here, I have 12,000 points. And you can get some really important stuff from this from the bazaar. So I'm gonna go here to trading points, and you can trade in some stuff. Now I don't have any duplicate characters at the moment. I've already traded everything in, but you know, these guys will give you 0. But once you get enough points, you can buy some really interesting things. Like for instance here, I definitely need to buy this tonight, the Flying Dutchman. You can buy ships, which I'll go into this later. Ships are very important, but you can buy some ships from the store. You can buy skulls at a discounted price. They have discounts every month as well. You can buy all sorts of stuff. So it's really important that you make sure you're not to sell your dupes. You want to actually feed them to the Rayleigh Bazaar, and that's going to be a really important aspect of the game. So keep that in mind. Next up, guys, tip number 5 is go do Extra Island. So Extra Island, you unlock it after Alvida, I believe. And the reason I say go to Extra Island is because everything pretty much is in here. Especially if you play global, all these islands are permanent now. So you can play them whenever you want. You can evolve your characters, level them up, and not have to worry about waiting for a certain day to do it. The other thing to keep in mind is that these islands will tend to give a lot more EXP than story islands. So if you want to just be leveling up, you just go into a 30 stamina extra island. If you can't clear 30 stamina, do 20 stamina. If you can't do 20, do 15, so on and so forth. If you're a brand new player, maybe just started today, and you're looking for something fun to do, you can do the lower stamina. They actually give a lot of EXP. So this is very important. Every time you level up to a new level, all your stamina refills. You can keep running without having to waste rainbow gems to refill your stamina. Once you get to a certain level, you want to be refilling because you want to be farming, and farming does require refilling. So don't be afraid to refill for stamina, but early on you will try to avoid it as much as possible. Try to be very efficient with how you run your dungeon, so you don't consistently have to gem. Now, tip number 6, guys, is the other thing you want to be doing early on. And the reason I say do story mode first is because this unlocks the Chopperman missions. These Chopperman missions are very awesome. They give you a lot of early material to evolve your characters. They give you a lot of cola for your ships. They give you rainbow gems. They give you everything. And they also unlock these Chopperman missions, which I just cleared the final one a few minutes ago. These Chopperman missions will give you a lot of EXP. They level you up a lot. If you can run them with EXP boosting ships or EXP boosting characters, that'll be even better. And the reason you want to run these, again, you get a lot of material, you get these Chopperman missions, and you can level up really fast. The faster you level up, the more cost you're going to have, the more stamina you're going to have, and so on and so forth. So definitely run these Chopperman missions, and you pretty much just have to go all the way to Alubarna. So again, I really think this should be your goal early on. Try to get to the end of Alubarna. Again, you get that crocodile, you get to do the Chopperman missions, and it's just a great amount of rainbow gems as well. 10 rainbow gems for clearing that island. Now, the 7th tip, guys, I have is to make sure to expand your box. So early on, I think you only have like 100 box space, and you'll notice that the more pulls you do, the more characters you favorite, the more kind of material you want to save up, the more box space that takes up. And so it's really important to make sure to consistently be upgrading your box. As you can see, I'm at 200 out of 1, so I've increased it by 100 so far. It is a bit expensive, but it's 100% mandatory. Like I've seen a few people try to get away with very few box space, but the more you play the game, the more important box space becomes. So you want to click on this expand character box button, and every time you have a few gems, I'm gonna go ahead and expand your box. My rule of thumb is for every 5 gems you spend on Sugo, spend 5 gems on box early on. It's really important. Although again, it depends. You decide on what you think you need. Now, the other important thing, guys, to keep in mind is that you're gonna need these ships to level up. Now, the Merry-Go is the first good ship that you get. You get it after you complete Sir Village, and you want to max this one anyways because it's one of the Chopperman missions requires you to have a level 10 Merry-Go, so you'll probably max this one anyways. You get a lot of cola from the Chopperman missions. But after the Merry-Go, don't level up any of these ships. The next one you should level up is this one right here, the 1000 Sunny. This is the one that most people will level up, and I'm going to be leveling this one up right after this video. But the 1000 Sunny is very important because it is a universal ship, works with any crew, 1.5 boost, which is the standard, and also deals 50,000 damage. It was a special, so it has a special that can actually clear certain rooms. It's really awesome. Just overall, a great generic ship. And later on, there's some other ships you could buy. For instance, if you want to go to, like I said, the Bazaar. It has some ships here. So the Revolutionary Army Blackbird is great for the new Lucy. Flying Dutchman gives extra EXP, and it's also a generic ship, so another great one. I'll probably pick this one up very soon before it leaves. And just be careful, again, don't level up the bad ships, work on the good ones, and as you do more content and you unlock more ships, you'll know which ones you want to level up depending on what kind of teams you have. So that's very important. Finally, guys, the last two tips here are, first off, make sure to find friends. So friends are very, very important because this game pretty much revolves around having a friend captain, and it's kind of difficult to clear content if you don't have enough good friends. So the best way to do that would be to go on something like Reddit, go on Facebook groups, go in Discords, and don't try to spam them, but ask them if anyone can add you. There's normally places where you can do that. Like for instance, in the Reddit, there is I believe a friend mega thread where you can post your ID and people will add you. In my Discord, there's an ID channel for both Global and JP, so you can post it in there, so on and so forth. That is the best way, and you really want to add as many friends as possible. And the final tip, guys, and this is obvious, but just enjoy the game. If you want to just play with your favorite characters, just do that. Don't worry too much about having top meta teams or whatever. If you can re-roll for top tier legends, that's great. But if you just want to play the game, that's how we all started. That's how most of us started. That's how I started. I didn't re-roll for legends when I first played Global or JP, and I really have enjoyed the game. So just keep that in mind. Just enjoy it. Play what you want. Don't feel required to complete all the content. But again, if you are looking for a bit more competitive teams, then make sure to maybe re-roll for a very good legend. So hopefully this video helped out, guys. Let me know if you have any more questions. If you're a beginner player, I'm always down to answer any questions. You can message me on Twitter, or just post it in the comment section, or ask me live when I'm streaming on twitch.tv, and I'll be happy to answer. And that's it, guys. Thanks a lot for watching. Talk to you guys in the next video, and until then, peace.